So Sonic Rumble is finally out. I don't need to tell you about this game. If you've been on the internet for longer than 5 minutes, you'll know this game has some very mixed opinions. Now originally I was just going to make some jokes about this and how I don't think the game's pay to win. But to be honest, that's probably not going to help at all. So let's have a real good look at the game and see how it is. Because honestly, I do really like this game and I want other people to like it. I really think this game is amazing and I do play a ton of it. Maybe too much, some people would say. And I haven't even put a penny into it. Now all cards on the table, I am a Sonic Rumble creator, which means two things. One, I've gotten a few in-game items for free, precisely these three. And second, I've got this very handsome little creator code, which I'm not putting in the video. Like I said, I want people to play and enjoy this game, not spend money on it. If they want this game to be good, that means being honest and accepting criticism, not just pushing sales. If they end up removing me from the creator program, that's fine. I'm not the type to sell out. Okay, so first things first, the game. I love this type of gameplay. The arcade Rumble games really just make my day. Fall Guys, Stumble Guys, Final Fantasy XIV, but I can see why people, including Sonic fans, don't particularly like it. It's much slower than a real Sonic game, but personally I find it's always nice to have a great little casual game I can invite less serious gamer friends to play, while still being able to be a dirty little sweat if I feel like it. There's plenty of different minigames, the wide selection helps stop things from feeling too repetitive, and yes, I even like the team games. Yeah, most of the time people just complain about bad teammates, myself included, but it's a nice handout for everyone lower on the leaderboard. Don't tell me there isn't something satisfying about watching a dirty little sweat, once again myself included, bite it just because they rode onto the worst team, because then suddenly everyone has a chance again. I love these types of games. There's just enough skill that it makes a difference, but sometimes people will just outlook you. And in my eyes, this is a great thing, because it stops the game becoming a case of he's the better player, he's already won, there's no point trying, because you've always got to remember about that random X factor. And Sonic Rumble nails this in my eyes. Courses are long enough to be fun, but don't overstay their welcome. There's a few tricks you can learn that will help you out, like skipping 50-50s. That one's on me. There's a few roadblocks on the track just in case first is getting a bit too far ahead, allowing everyone else to catch back up. And the 3-round system means it's not a chore to get back to finals if you do happen to slip up. But from this alone you might just think the game's doing great. Just another perfectly fine mobile release. But then there's a ton of backlash for this game. And starting with the easiest, the release date. Holy did they miss the mark with this one. Several times in fact. Quick test, when was Sonic Rumble first publicly playable? That's right, August 20th, 2024. This is already going to leave a bad taste in people's mouths on its own, but then telling them that other people are allowed to play the game and they aren't because for some reason they decided to release it in certain countries and not others, then rubbing salt in the wound by showing off cool events that nobody's allowed to play because they haven't got the game yet. And top this off with a complete lack of communication, including why the game's clearly playable, we're just not allowed to. And Sonic Rumble is already off to a bad start before people even know when the game's supposed to be coming out. Now I didn't really think about this when I first started writing this video, and it's one of the reasons I had to rewrite it. Back around May I sort of made my own way into the game with or without permission. But the majority of people had to wait over a full year to actually get to play the game. So picture it, you've been patiently waiting well over a year to play this game now. It's missed several release dates with zero communication as to why, and you just get to watch everyone else having fun. But now you've finally got your hands on the game as well, and then Mr. 4000% comes out of nowhere, rocks your shit and leaves. Understandably, it's not going to go down well. This is, in my opinion, one of Rumble's biggest and most confusing problems. The pay to win. Now maybe you do know or maybe you don't know, but before I explain it, let's just look at the chain of events from the perspective of a new player. Imagine I've just installed the game. The first thing the game shows me is that this player has a massive boost. Now I don't know what this number means, just that he's getting an extra 4000% of whatever it is. And then he proceeds to dominate every single round. And it's not even close, it's by a particularly large margin. To a new player, it's not hard to connect the dots and assume that this booster was boosting his rings. Now you may or may not know that this is in fact a post-round score booster. It only really affects a few score achievements in the Rumble rankings. Nothing during the game. But the game doesn't explain this very well, and a new player is never going to learn this. They'll go through this cycle a few times before giving up. Especially when Rumble is always like, hey, look at this player, look how much money they've spent, look at their fancy skin, aren't they so amazing? Which leads us perfectly into our third issue, the cost. So you've decided to grit your teeth and bear it, and maybe the game will get better later. At some point or another, the game will lead you into the shop. It's a mobile game, they do this. And then you see it. If it isn't that fancy dancy skin that Mr. Moneybags himself bought. It even comes with a massive boost, which once again there's a very high chance I probably still don't know what this boost means. And out of morbid curiosity I then decide to see how much this skin happens to cost, and Jesus. Now, I'm kind of an old fart when it comes to these sorts of things. Paying for DLC is already bad enough as far as I'm concerned, so these kind of prices are way over the top. But then I also see people paying silly money for gacha games, so I will admit maybe I'm just out of touch when it comes to these sorts of things. But let's just add this all together for a moment. This player has a super expensive skin, gets a ridiculous bonus, and destroys everyone. At this point you'll do one of two things, I reckon. Either A, do what I did and go balls to the walls just to make sure I upset everyone who's paid money by making sure they lose to a free account, or much more likely, and rationally, B, give up and go play anything else. Again, even if you happen to know it's not pay to win, I reckon a lot of people probably jump ship before they even come close to figuring that out. So rather than just moping about the problem, how about we think of ways they could possibly fix it instead? Step 1, don't do what I did. If someone wants to spend money, that's their business, but there is a pretty good chance they haven't even spent money even if they do have a legendary skin. After all, even I have one. Step 1 of actually trying to solve Rumble's problems on the other hand, remove these bonuses. I know Rumble likes to show off these players because then they can show off fancy skins and maybe more people will buy them. If they really don't want to remove the score bonus, then please for the love of God just don't show it here. By simply just removing this number and showing off the skins instead, I guarantee this will stop like 90% of the confusion. Now the next problem is a bit more awkward and is one I think most games face. How do we stop Mr. Newbie from getting stomped by Mr. 4000%? Well, Mr. 4000% probably has spent some money on the game. In reality, the problem is that he's just played the game a lot more. It has been out for a full year in some places. But how do we give Mr. Newbie a fighting chance against him? Well, maybe this is a good spot for a newbie league of sorts. Add in a couple bots, a couple players, remove the skins and let them just learn and have fun with the mechanics until they're ready for real matches that risk more seasoned players. Once they've gotten to grips with the mechanics a lot better, chances are they'll even end up beating quite a few people that have paid for skins. And also, please just tone the shop prices down. Again, I'm really not all that familiar with mobile game prices, but even so, this would be a real nice gesture. And not to mention a great way to prove they're actually listening to feedback, which is something they've shown they've struggled with before. Whoa, quick jump scare from Animated Me. Turns out while editing this video, Rovio actually posted an update stating that they're actually looking into most of the things I mentioned in this video. If you want to read the whole thing, I'll leave a link in the description, but it mentions that they're currently working on making skins and red rings easier to obtain through gameplay, making the shop and in-game content more achievable, and revising the interface and tutorial to greatly clarify how the game works. You know, some of the biggest issues people have at the moment. Plus, on top of this, they're actually letting us know what's going on this time, as opposed to just showing us content we can't play. That's it, I just wanted to add this into the video because I think it's quite important. I'll leave the rest back to non-animated me. At the end of the day, all I can really do is hope that Rovio really take the feedback on board and try to make a better game. Alternatively, they could throw a tantrum and demote my creator status, but that's a risk I'm willing to take. And hopefully if you have decided to put the game down, maybe you'll give it another try. I promise you it's really not pay to win. The devs just need to learn how to convey this a lot better, as well as learn how to communicate with the community a bit better as well. But we'll have to give them a chance to try first. If you are curious, I have actually gotten quite a few in-game items without having to pay a single penny to it. Depending of course on how you see creator items. But more importantly, with practice you'll be winning tons of games. Heck, people might even think that you're a pay to win. Unless you're like me and you just really like Wolf Avatar 2. Hey, thanks for actually watching. I know I've been quiet for a while. I'm working on a Crossworlds video now, and I sort of rewrote this script about 5 times after my thoughts on the matter kept changing. If you do want to support me, a like and subscribe would be nice. Again, I ain't gonna plug my code in this video as I think it sort of undermines my whole point.